There's a huge karst, very beautiful. And if you look closely, there's Jordan waving.
After a 1-hour cab ride, we arrived in Viñales and immediately set out to find accommodation. Due to the recent boom in tourism here, almost every private home in Viñales rents out at least one of their rooms. But after speaking to a local security guard, we were convinced to follow him to a private farm outside of town, where we met Mercedes and Cucuyu, who offered us a small casita for $10 a night and home-cooked meals for $5.
Hello and welcome to Desiree's new house. This is the main area. You can open up the windows as well. This is the shower. This is the backyard. Huge chickens. And then we've got a little outhouse over there. So, pretty perfect. Pretty awesome.
Luckily, Desiree's Spanish allowed us to have a long conversation with Cucuyu about what life was like growing up in a small mountain village during the revolution and the transition to communism. She told us how the government enforces quotas on the local farmers for how many animals they must raise each year, as well as how many crops they must harvest. In return, the government ostensibly provides for the family's needs, and that although the government is very good at enforcing the quotas, they more often than not are unable to provide any assistance in return. What you got, Desiree?
I'm a little bit of a Snow White right now. They all think I'm going to feed them.
Oh, looks like
some of them lost hope, but let me see what
I We had heard that the best place to buy Cuban cigars was to go directly to the source, so we asked several locals where we could find the best tobacco farm in the area.
Okay, gracias.
We learned that after the tobacco seeds are sown, the plants are carefully pruned so that the leaves can grow to the necessary size, a process which can take several months. After harvesting, the tobacco leaves must be cured in order to develop their characteristic aroma, the leaves passing from bright green to a brownish yellow during this transition. To cure, the harvested plants are strung to narrow strips of wood which are hung from the ceiling of a well-ventilated curing barn. After the leaves are cured, they are sorted by color and size. The leaves are tied into bundles of 10 or 15 leaves each, which are then packed into boxes. The leaves undergo chemical changes during this period, referred to as fermentation, a process which can take 2 to 5 years for high-quality cigars. Finally, the cigars are rolled by hand. First, the filler leaves are placed one on top of the other and rolled into a bunch. Then, the bunch is placed on a binder leaf and is rolled into a cylinder. The unfinished cigars are placed in an open wooden mold that holds them in shape until they can be wrapped. Then, using a special rounded knife, the filler is trimmed and the wrapper leaf is rolled around the filler and binder. The result of all this labor is one of the finest cigars found anywhere in the world.
Él está en cielo. He's in heaven.
Oh man. Muy bien.
All right, so it's our second day in Viñales, and we just had a delicious breakfast. Woo, there goes Jordan. and we're gonna try to find some sport climbing routes. So hopefully we'll be able to do that and we'll have a great time and come back just in time for dinner. So here we go.
We had heard of a local rock climbing expert named Fidel, who we sought out in search of local knowledge of the best climbing routes in the area. He lent us his guidebook and informed us that rock climbing is actually illegal in Cuba and that we should be careful to avoid the authorities. In our opinion, this was just another example of a misguided law resulting from a state which deems all actions illegal until proven to be absolutely necessary.
Where are we going, buddy?
We're going rock climbing.
Point to where we're going.
We are going to Ensenada.
Okay.
Which is it's on the other side of these palm trees.
Okay.
But there's La Cueva.
Oh my God.
That's where all the hard routes are.
Cool.
And that's where our buddy Fidel, who lent us his guidebook and told us how to get here, he said that if we wanted to stay another day, or no, he said this afternoon that he'd be up at La Cueva. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we just followed his directions, and he told us to head down the dirt road till we got to Raul's farm, and we just met Raul, a really nice guy, and he told us where to go, so we're heading up into the cliffs.
All right. Just get into our little nook of climbing. And you look up and up and up and up and up and up. You can see where there he is.
Boy, you're such a rebel, doing something illegal.
Tell me about it. They call me La Loca.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
Just, you know, hanging out a little bit.
You hanging out?
Hanging out in Cuba.
Oh, nice.
Falling into trees.
Okay, so there's Desiree way down there. She's trying to wave. And there's Viñales. Beautiful view from up here. And yeah, got some really good rock climbing in today. So I'm very, very happy. But yeah, it's beautiful up here. And it's a long way down. Whoa.
How was climbing, bud?
It's good.
Yeah? You a new man?
Yeah, I am. On our way back, we stopped at Raul's farm to relax, have a mojito, and play some games. We then made our way back home to the casita, where Cucuyu and Mercedes prepared dinner, as we visited with our friend the security guard who had originally brought us there. Yeah, he did a cover. The next morning, just as we were about to leave, Mercedes and Cucuyu offered to grind for us some freshly roasted coffee beans that they had grown themselves. We stood there as the beans were ground down and exchanged stories across two cultures, geographically so close, but so vastly different. The rock climbing and biking that we experienced in Viñales was exceptional to say the least. But as we rode the ferry back to Cayo La Visa, we were reminded that it's not just the experiences that we would remember, but it is also the amazing people that we got to meet along the way that we would never forget.
No directo, no, un poquito de miel.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
These are called floppy-eared pigs.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. They're a very rare species.
Wow. Yeah. How about that goat? What kind of species is that?
Famous chewing goat.
Ah.